Brothers and sisters, as harsh as it may sound, and as unpolitically correct it may be, but I say with full confidence and zero hesitation that he who claims to be a Muslim acknowledges Allah as his maker and his provider, and he claims to have an interest in being saved on the day of judgment, yet he neglects his or her prayer. You are an evil person. I swear by the one who owns my life, if you had any idea of what it was that you, my brother, my sister, have neglected, if you are that person, you would not be able to enjoy another meal. You would not be able to fall asleep this evening. You have neglected Salah, the rope of Allah which He has extended to you from Him. You have cast aside your only lifeline in life. You've cast aside the act of worship which was mentioned in the Quran in over 100 different places, and in every one of those 100 ayat there is either a description of the bounties that Allah has prepared for those who pray, or there is a description of the trauma which awaits those who neglect it. The first of those 100 ayat speaking about Salah, they begin as early as Surah Al-Baqarah, the beginning of our Mus'haf today. Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ, those who established a prayer. And then the last of those 100 ayat that speak about Salah is all the way in Surah Al-Kawthar. إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ wanhar. So pray to your Lord, Allah said, and sacrifice. Pray to your Lord and sacrifice. And in between the first and the 100th, there are tens of ayat speaking about Salah. I ask you, my brother, my sister, who is unsure about giving the Salah the lifelong commitment that it demands, honestly speaking, how do you accept to put yourself in the middle of this fierce crossfire of scholarly discussion and debate about your status as a person who does not pray? Some of those scholars deem you as a non-Muslim, not to be buried or washed with the Muslims when they pass away. Non-Muslim, whilst the most lax opinion towards you as a person who does not pray is that you are a fasiq, meaning a rebellious sinner, the worst of the fusaq. Do you honestly feel comfortable sitting right in the middle of this type of discussion? Had your grandfather or your great-grandfather been resurrected and he was told that there's going to be people from your progeny who will claim to be Muslims, but then they will refuse to pray, I guarantee he would never believe in such a thing. He would consider it impossible. And subhanallah, we find ourselves needing to almost literally drag our loved ones, our children, our siblings to pray as they slouch and they stagger and they linger. Why? That's because they haven't tasted its sweetness. They haven't felt it. You see, you invite someone to their favorite restaurant. They will arrive before you do. Why? Because they've experienced the joy of what they serve. If that person, however, is unsure about the restaurant, he's unsure of their menu, he will hesitate to accept the invitation, and he may not even show up. Similarly, if you tasted what Salah offers, the real Salah that is, not the Salah that we have made it, the real Salah that is, we would become addicts. Prostration will be the greatest source of comfort and relief in existence. And I want to share with you here a few examples of those before us who experienced this ecstasy with Salah. Hatim al-Asam, the great worshipper from the city of Balkh, from Khurasan, his friends once asked him, كيف تصلي? Describe to us how you pray. He said the following, listen to this. أقوم بالأمر, I carry out the obligations. وأمشي بالخشية, and I walk to the mosque in fear of Allah. وأدخل بالنية, and I set for my prayer a clear intention. وأكبر بالعظمة, And I begin my prayer with takbir in awe of Allah. وَأَقْرَأُ بِالتَّرْتِيلِ وَبِالتَّفَكُّرِ. And I recite Quran in a slow, calm, measured way with contemplation. وَأَرْكَعُ بِالْخُشُوعِ. And I bow with submissiveness. وَأَسْجُدُ بِالتَّوَاضُعِ. And I prostrate with humility. وَأَجْلِسُ لِلتَّشَهُّدِ بِالتَّمَامِ. And I sit correctly for my tashahhud. وَأُسَلِّمُ بِالسُّنَّةِ. And then I end my prayer according to the sunnah. وَأُسْلِمُهَا بِالْإِخْلَاصِ إِلَى اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. Then I hand over my prayer to Allah in the end with sincerity. And then what is the conclusion? The conclusion, he said, وَأَرْجِعُ عَلَى نَفْسِي بِالْخَوْفِ أَخَافُ أَنْ لَا يُقْبَلْ مِنِّي. And then I worry after this in apprehension at the thought of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not accepting this prayer from me. Allahu Akbar. Compare that against my prayer and yours. Look at the joy they had in Salah and how engaged their minds were.